Welcome back to live coverage here of the 4th annual Pit Stop Challenge from Victory Lane, part of this monumental Daytona 200 weekend. I'm Jamie Howe, joined by Roger Hayden. And Roger, we think about all of these 5 teams that had to qualify themselves to get in here. The top 5 qualifiers for the Daytona 200, getting to go head-to-head and earn some cash.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for the crew guys to be able to hear and have their own little challenge, and it's time to be put to the test. It's one thing practicing in the garage and things like that, but it's another thing when it's out here when it really matters.
And for the competitors that are here, I mentioned it's the top 5 qualifiers from the Daytona 200. First up will be the PHR Performance Triumph team of Richard Cooper, followed by PHR Performance Triumph team of Peter Hickman, and then we get to the TOBC Racing with rider Brandon Posh.
And then you got Josh Herron there, and the post sitter Tyler Scott getting to go last. So, you know, they kind of get to see all the other teams do and how they're going to do it, and maybe change their plan as they go.
Now, as the rules state, it does not have to be the actual Daytona 200 rider on the bike. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for that. The payout, though, what is it that these crews are going after? Well, the winner will take home $7,000 in addition to $1,000 worth of VP fuel and $1,000 worth of Cardo's new Edge Duo and 2 Edge phones. Second place, though, they're not going home empty-handed. It's also $3,500 for them. While third place will get a prize package of $2,500. This is the 4th year, I mentioned it, 4th annual Pit Stop Challenge here from Daytona. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights over the year. We'll go back to 2022, where Josh Herron was able to take home the win. But now in 2023, Josh Herron was disqualified, and that meant that Tyler Scott and that 70 team was able to win. And then last season, it was Stefano Mesa, and that team was able to take home the top prize package, and they're huge bragging rights as well, Roger, for all of these teams. It's not just a chance to be able to go through the motions, but it's a chance to prove that they've done their work as well.
Yeah, for the mechanics, they just get to go in there and prove, and just kind of their own competition. And also, I think it's a really good test for tomorrow. You know, you're under the gun. You have everybody watching today. For the mechanics, this is whoever wins this is going to have bragging rights till we come back next year.
Now, why PHR Performance gets set up, this is a little bit of what we're going to see when we go from team to team, is they're going to have 5 minutes, each team will, to get their pit stall area set up. All 5 competitors are using the same taped off section here in Victory Lane. There is a starting line, which is when the official clock will start. The 2 crew members are able to push the bike with the rider on board up to that line. Once the front wheel crosses that front line, then the rider must coast into what is now the taped off section of the Victory Lane. You can see that the yellow and black line on the screen right there, that is the start line. That is where the rider must then begin coasting to that next yellow line, which designates the start of the pit stall itself. There is another yellow line that is taped off right after it, and that is that's designating the end of what is being used as the pit stall. Now, once the pit stop is complete, the rider must then get himself out of the pit box, and the official time will stop at the final line that has been taped off, that is also a yellow and black line. So a couple of colors to be able to help you see the start and the finish. And Roger, as you're watching PHR Performance get set up, what is it that is important for these guys?
Well, I think the important part is they don't get a practice run. So you know, you kind of come in a little bit of an angle. Every team's got their own little method. They're going to have their own little things out there to try to make the pit stop a little bit easier. But the best thing for these teams, what they're going to try to do, they're going to try to make it just like the way they have practiced so much leading up to the race. We've seen every practice and qualifying session, every time a rider came into the pits, they practiced a pit stop. So I think you're going to see all these guys try to mimic what they've been practicing, but it's going to be a lot different for these guys.
And it's a little bit different than what we're going to see in the Daytona 200, just in terms of here in Victory Lane. This will be cold engines. There will be simulated fuel. Each team must simulate 3 seconds worth of fueling. They're going to have to come in, and of course they're going to change the front and the rear tire. But a little bit different rule package for pit stops this season. fueling and changing cannot happen at the same time. So as the teams come into the pit stall, they're not allowed to start fueling the bike until all changes have been made, including the tires.
And that's just for safety, just making sure, you know, the hot engine and the fuel spill could also cause a fire. So we haven't had that issue, but we want to make sure that issue doesn't happen going forward. So it's all about safety, and it's the same for every team.
6 crew members are able to take part in this. The rider that is on the bike, they are not allowed to do anything except for be the rider. If they do, then they count towards that 6 crew member number. So it's important for the rider just to do the job that they're supposed to do as well.
And the mechanics behind them are going to be pushing as hard as possible. And it's a little slick here, down here in Victory Lane. So it's going to be tough getting a little grip, but they're going to try to get as much speed as possible as they head into their pit stop.
All right, we just got the thumbs up from Nicole Cox. She is the official referee for this 4th annual Pit Stop Challenge. First up will be PHR Performance Triumph, Richard Cooper's team. So they get the final go-ahead. You can see the 2 crew members behind. They are going to be the ones to push the bike in. Roger, here we go.
Here we go. We can get the first one underway.
Come to a stop up on the jacks. You can see the fuel can is ready, but may not touch the bike until all changes are complete.
Having a little trouble with the chain, looks like.
Now, once the fuel is going in, nobody else is allowed to touch the bike for those 3 seconds. Other than that problem with the rear, the bike is now out of the pit stall.
Pretty clean little stop, but I think you could definitely in the race see a couple things on that back tire where you could clean up. So it's great to kind of get that little issue out of the way today and know what you need to work on going into tonight, into tomorrow morning.
We're being told the official time, a 22.40. Now for PHR Performance, let's take another look at this replay here, Roger.
Yeah, you can just see trying to get the rear wheel off pretty clean, but after they put the new wheel on, trying to get the chain on the sprocket just didn't go as clean, I think, as they would have liked. You see him struggling there with his left hand, just kind of got stuck down there and had to give it a couple more tries than he would have liked, trying to go for a quick pit stop.
We mentioned the way that you are able to get into this pit stop challenge is by being one of the top 5 qualifiers for the Daytona 200. PHR Performance taking 2 of those spots, and so they're also going to have the chance now to do another one.
Yeah, so that was Peter Hickman that went now, and then Richard Cooper is going to go next. You know, we got the teammates there, both of them in it. It's a little bit confusing, but if the same team is going to do both pit stops, but maybe pit or on different laps, they can have a little bit of a practice here. You can see the crew over there making changes to take the front fairing off, take Peter's off, and then also be able to put Richard Cooper's on and then move on to the next time.
So they got that practice round in. They do have 5 minutes in between each running to be able to get themselves ready for the next one. We do have a 3rd member of our team here for the Pit Stop Challenge. Steve English is up in the box. How did it look from up high, Steve?
You can see the importance of the teamwork there for everyone. It was interesting earlier on, speaking to Hickey about the challenge for the team, is that with the Super Sport bike, they're used to making pit stops at the Isle of Man TT, but not making tire changes as well. So obviously it takes a little bit of time to iron out all the details, but now with Richard Cooper going on to that bike, we'll also see a little bit of a change as well, because Hickey we were able to see really paddle and help the team get that bike out. Richard Cooper a lot shorter than that, so we'll see whether or not he's able to help as well.
And good news for Peter Hickman and that first pit stop. I was just told by Nicole Cox that pit stop, everything was checked out and there were no penalties. So that was a good 22.4 time. Steve, as you're coming in to this Daytona 200 weekend and you've kind of been absorbing everything here in the MotoAmerica paddock over the course of the last 2 days, think about the pit stops for tomorrow and just the complexity that it adds into what is already a daunting race. What are your takeaways?
Well, it's all about the rules and regs of what you're able to do in the pits, and only 5 crew members able to work on the bike at any given time, get the tire change done first, and then in this pit stop challenge, it's about being able to put in 3 seconds worth of fuel. Obviously, during a race, you've got a lot more fuel to go in, but for the teams, they know that the deciding factor, and we saw it in last year's race for Richie Escalante, just how much time can be lost in the pits. You've got to be able to make those tire changes as quick as possible.
You heard Nicole Lewis there telling the team your time starts at the line. They're giving the thumbs up that they are ready.
Ryder had a little issue there getting off the bike, but so far it's looking pretty clean. See if they get the rear wheel on a little better this time around.
Hear the communication between the team members, and he's out. As we wait for the official time, it was 25:54 was the official time, and Nicole now going over to make sure that the bike would pass tech as well. Roger, you mentioned the rider having a little bit of trouble getting off of the bike. As the rider being put in that position, what kind of challenge is it?
Well, it is a challenge, especially if you're a shorter rider. Getting off the bike is a little bit harder. If you're a taller rider, it's a little easier to get your leg over that seat. So when you're in a hurry and you're kind of shorter, it's hard to get over that seat. And also, as a rider too, you're not used to coming in and rushing off the bike that quick. So sometimes you can kind of rush a little too much.
Steve, you watched that stop from up high. It looked a little bit cleaner than the one before, but the time a little bit slower. What'd you see?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you can see for Coops as he gets himself back onto the bike, just a little bit more difficult, like Rog says, and that costs you a bit of time, more of a struggle then to be able to help paddle as well. Obviously, during the pit stops, you've got that bike up and running. You can see there on the way into it, it was Peter Hickman helping just to get that bike pushed in as well. But the challenges are there for all the teams in this situation, but the main thing from it is you're under pressure to try and perform, and that's what the key is. But Rog, when you look at these bikes as well, the swing arm setup makes a big difference, whether you've got that single-sided swing arm or the double-sided brace.
Yeah, also too, you notice how close they are to the podium. So the rider that comes in for this pit stop needs to make sure he gives his crew enough space from the podium where his guys can work. So that's one of those things when you're rushing and you're getting pushed in, you got to make sure you get your team enough space to be able to make their moves in the pit stop. And every bike's going to be a little bit different, as you said. So that's why practice is so important.
TOBC will be the next team that will get to take part in this pit stop challenge. Again, if you're just now joining us, what are these teams competing for? We're at $7,000 going to first place, in addition to $1,000 worth of VP Racing fuel and $1,000 worth of Cardo's new Edge Duo and 2 Edge phones. But the second place team also getting $3,500, and the third place team being able to go home with $2,500.
It's a lot of money up for grabs for these crew members, you know, and not only the bragging rights, but also the money. And that $7 grand is a big difference between winning this and coming up second.
We did get the thumbs up from that second pit stop from Nicole Lewis, the 25:54. That time will stand. It was a clean pass through tech, no issues. It's always interesting too, Roger, to watch the different pit stall setups from each of the teams.
And you see the trunk too, you know, for the front end stand, you can see right there kind of down the bike that picks up the front wheel, so it's a little bit different. The mechanic's going to have to slide that in, so you know, as Steve mentioned, every bike's going to be set up a little bit different, as every crew is going to have their own techniques as well on how to make a quick pit stop.
As TOBC Racing is getting set up, I do see Brandon Posh, the rider that will be on the bike for the Daytona 200. Are you going to get out there and ride the bike in for this challenge also?
Yeah, I think that's the plan here.
This pit stop challenge versus what actually happens in the race. I mean, obviously during the race you'll have all of your gear on, your leathers, everything else. How difficult is this though for you?
I almost think this one's more difficult than the ones in the race, to be honest. You got the cameras on you, everybody's standing around watching you, but yeah, during the race we'll have had time to practice pit stops tonight and tomorrow, and yeah, I mean, they're only going to keep getting better. So
We're definitely going to be watching you during the race tomorrow as well. The cameras will surely be on you. No, for sure. You're going for 3 wins here. You think about the crew guys that have all put this bike together. This is a big repayment for them if they can take this cash home.
Yeah, no, it'd be great for the team, and then it'd be a little bit of extra confidence for me going into the race. I know we have a pretty good shot of being at the front and potentially winning this thing again. So let's keep the hammer down, baby.
All right, Brandon Posh already has 2 of those Rolexes. We'll see if he can get a 3rd one in the race tomorrow. But for right now, it looks like his team is ready. The bike is set. Pit stall has been set up. We'll see what their time can be.
Let's go, boys.
Ready? Let's go.
Here we go. From the bike there, you mentioned that, Roger. It's slick here in victory lane.
Also, you can tell Brandon moved a lot farther from the podium, gave his guys a lot better opportunity there. It looks like we have a problem there. A little bit of a mistake.
I wonder if maybe Brandon got on the bike a little too soon. Nicole Lewis, you're the official referee here. What happened at the end?
So what they're supposed to do is make contact with the machine to simulate fueling. Then it is supervised for 3 seconds by a grid steward and then released, and that didn't happen.
So this pit stop is disqualified.
Correct.
Well, that is a bummer for TOBC Racing, and you heard it from Brandon there right before it started. This one is almost even more difficult, Roger.
Yeah, and it's better to get that mistake over today, you know, going into tomorrow. But TOBC definitely has the pit stops down pat. They've won the Daytona 200 quite a few times, but today with a couple different rules in the pit stop, they made a little bit of a mistake. But you know, it's better to get it over with today, and they'll learn from that. And hopefully, when they get practicing up till the race tomorrow, they'll keep working on that mistake.
One of the things that you did notice that was going really well as the team now takes a look at the replay on the big screen here was the fact that Brandon had the bike a little further off of the wall. But that's a big advantage.
It's a big advantage. It just gives your crew a lot more room to work. They're not so squished. Like on pit lane, they have a lot of space to work on, and you want to kind of emulate that.
From the vantage point, Steve English, that you have up there, you also saw another little advantage that they had.
Yeah, you were able to see that big run on the way in, and a good effort by the team just to give Brandon that push all the way into that pit stop. Just a shame that they've made that mistake down there, but as Rog said, it's all about being right tomorrow, not so much for the pit stop challenge, and very different situation for them in this pit stop strategy compared to what they have during the races.
Josh Heron now down here getting ready for this. If you were with us at the beginning, you saw that Josh and his team was able to win the pit stop challenge back in 2022, but then was disqualified in 2023. And that win was handed over to Tyler Scott that year. And then last year, of course, Stefano Mesa took home the top honors. But for you, Josh, as you're watching your team get set up here, these are big bragging rights, right?
Yeah, I think my heart rate gets higher, doing this than it does in the race. So it's this is fun for the guys because this is something where the responsibility falls on the crew for this. Where normally, they're obviously a bigger part of the whole thing than I am because they're doing all the work, at the shop before the race and at the race. But this is a time for them to shine and really show their skills. So I think this is a really fun event. And unfortunately, we got DQ'd a couple times. So hopefully this time we make it through good. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just fun. So.
We were following along through the qualifying sessions this weekend. Every single time you came to pit lane, your crew was practicing a pit stop. It was simulating exactly what would happen during the race. Where are you at right now in terms of what you think you have for those 2 pit stops?
I think we're good. I mean, I think, I think you'll see here, I think nerves are higher for them here in front of an audience and stuff and not getting any practice right before. So I think that's why sometimes you see mistakes made here, where when it really counts on the track, I think that's when they shine, and that goes for all the crew, But I think we're good. We got the advantage with the Ducati having the single side swing arm. I know it makes it easier on them. So yeah, just looking forward to it, and hopefully we do good.
Let's talk a little bit about the Daytona 200 and the fact that you are going for, as the rider, you're going for 3 wins in a row. But it's not just you. You've talked about it for the last couple of seasons. You've got the same group of guys, and this team has really put all of their faith in you. This is a potential 3rd win in a row for them too.
Yeah, it's huge. It's you know, a chance to cement ourselves in history. You know, you got Eslick here. I think he's the only rider with 4 Daytona 200 wins. So to be competing with him for this is super cool. You know, we got a lot of history, and yeah, it's a big deal for all of us. So I'm happy.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I've got a little bit of a question for you. Favorite color? Is it red for Ducati, green for money, or gold for a Rolex?
It's green. Griffin's favorite color is green, so mine's green.
That makes it easy. Josh Herron getting ready for this pit stop challenge. It looks like his team is getting set as well and getting closer and closer. Roger, you mentioned that the swing arm. How does it change the pit stop?
It changes the pit stop because they don't have to put the rear wheel axle in there, you know, so it's just the wheel goes automatically on there. They don't have to really, you know, mess with the chain and some other things that the other guys have to deal with, so they can get the rear wheel off a lot quicker. And you know, Josh and his team's had some really good pit stops the last couple years in the 200, but the single side swing arm, definitely with a little less going on without trying to get the rear axle in, it's going to make it a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, and I think, Rog, as well, being able to compare it to what we saw for the Triumphs as well. Tricky, obviously, for the PHR team to get that chain back on. Let's see how it is for the Ducati, and like you said, that opportunity maybe just to shave off a split second.
And again, the time that is trying to be beat here, the 22.4 that came from PHR Performance from their first pit stop, 25.54. That is the second place time right now. And then unfortunately for TOBC Racing and the bike that was being ridden in by Brandon Posh, that was a disqualification.
You can see the team right now, they're really making sure they get the rules down, a couple different changes. They got another little team meeting, kind of getting together, making sure everybody knows what their plan is going to be, as this stop is going to be starting pretty soon.
Now these times are a little bit slower than what we've had the last couple of years. We talked about it a little bit, Roger, but the rules are also different in terms, for safety reasons. Fueling and tire changes can no longer happen at the same time.
Yeah, they can't happen at the same time, so it's going to slow down the pit stops, but it's also going to make it safer. And you know, we've had a gas spill before, and we don't want that in a fire, and this is kind of how the world endurance teams do it. So kind of following their lead, and it's just all about safety, and it's the same for everyone. If everybody has to wait, it's still equal.
Well, I saw that Ducati get pushed back behind the line. Josh is now on the seat. Nicole Lewis said it, when you're ready.
Now. Done.
Very clear communication. Off and away. That was a great stop, but for Josh, had a hard time getting back on the seat. You talked about that, Roger.
Yeah, when you're short, it's hard to kind of get your legs going when you're trying to get quicker. That's what's so important. Part of the crew, it's not only changing the wheels that the crew is so important for, it's also the push in and then also the push out.
18.95 was the time for the Celtic Economy Lube and Tire Warhorse HSBK Racing Team.
And if you put that in context for the race tomorrow, if you're able to make up 4 seconds in the pit, that's going to be huge with 2 pit stops. That's going to be 8 seconds overall. It's going to be hard for somebody to make up 4 seconds on Josh, so the team could give him a huge advantage in the pits.
When it comes to endurance racing, any time that's lost on pit lane, you've got to make up out on the racetrack. The competition is so tight. It's difficult to make up that amount of time under power. Looking down at Nicole Lewis, she's already taken a look at that bike. Is it a thumbs up? Is it clear? You get the thumbs up, so that is an 18.95. Take a look at the replay.
You got Josh carrying the wheel, but you can just see the single side swing arm just how much easier for the rear wheel. It's almost like this team really kind of went slow and just made sure they didn't make a mistake, and I think that was the key part. They wasn't rushing, they just kind of took their time and just made sure it was clean, and clean enough for them was a quick pit stop.
Well, they had been through these motions time and time again during the qualifying sessions. We watched it over the last couple of days in our coverage, so certainly it was not the first time that they had done this today, but the slick pavement here, we already saw Brandon's team, they had an issue with that as well, so it is a little different than what we have on pit lane.
It's a little slick, and also when you're getting pushed in and you're stopping, you know, using the front brake and the rear brake, you think, well, you're not really going that quick, but you're going quick enough, and for the crew to kind of push you out. You know, it's almost like pushing like a sled, and you get going, and it's hard to get that grip.
And you can see for the team as well, just getting that pit stop done nice and clean. But the big thing was we could hear the communication from them, working together as a team, making sure that they were able to tick all the boxes and then get it done. And like you said, Rog, just being able to be smooth and being able to get that change done. But the single-sided swing arm does make a big difference for it. But here at the pit stops, that's a key advantage for that Ducati squad.
Our final team that will be up for this pit stop challenge will be Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki, the crew of Tyler Scott. You can see Tyler there helping them get all set, but Chris Ulrich, the man in control when it comes down to all of these crew members, the execution of the pit stops as well. What work have you guys done to get yourself better prepared for this year?
Well, quite a lot, actually. You know, everyone watched last year, right? So, look, those kind of mistakes stink. So we worked diligently over the winter. Especially the two guys at the shop were really working hard and cleaned up a lot of operation as far as that goes. And look, we know what we need to do. We have to execute that. The boys have to be calm and deliberate with their movements, and you know we'll be fine. So it's just a little bit new configuration or challenge for this year, right? With the work being done before the fuel, but it's actually not new for us. We did that back with the ASRA when they were running the 200 before MotoAmerica became the promoter. So yeah, it's just be calm, deliberate with your movements, fast and slow, right, with everything, and you know, hopefully we take away a little bit of money today.
For everybody that's watching, you know, it's a great time to remind everyone this is the only race of the year here in MotoAmerica competition where we have pit stops. Having the equipment that you need, that's a huge investment on the part of the team.
Yeah, it is, but I'd say that stand on the rear is from 2007. It's from a previous manufacturer, so it's been Old Faithful, and for us, and then the front end stand's been developed for quite a few years. So just working through things, making sure we got our processes right, and you know, really at the end of the day, right, they pay the big money tomorrow, and that's the feather in the cap that Team Hammer's missing after so many attempts, and especially with a team that has such a pedigree in endurance racing with 13 national championships and 7 24 hours and so many wins. So, you know, I'd like to get this done, and I think we've focused our effort this year, shrunk our program for the race, and you know, we'll find out tomorrow at the end of 57 laps.
Well, you do have the feather in your cap of being now a repeat, a two-time back-to-back pole sitter going into the Daytona 200. You've certainly got the speed, but the pit stops, the execution to get through those 57 laps, that's the crucial element, right? Yeah,
so many things have to go right too in the 200. We've been there before and had small issues as far as you know, in the past, especially in 2021. So. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, we have to be perfect in the pits. The rider has to be smart on the racetrack, take care of the equipment, take care of the tires. We have a great tire partner with Dunlop, and you know, Tyler's on it, but also we're not gonna, you know, I don't think anybody should sleep on Richie, as we've seen in the years past. And you know, we've done our homework, looked at the squiggly lines on the data, and we understand what happened, and we ain't gonna do it again.
All right, well, it looks like a pit lane might be set up, going over those final rules right now. Thank you for the time. I know your crew's excited for this one. $7,000 on the line, in addition to $1,000 of VP racing fuel, and then $1,000 worth of new cardo equipment as well.
Yeah, it's great that MotoAmerica's promotional team's doing a good job raising money and giving it back to the teams, especially for this event. Daytona's an expensive race, so it's good to have the opportunity to win some more money. It's going to be fun. I mean, these guys have been working so hard on the pit stops. It's a little fun thing for me. I get to push the bike with my son, so that's going to be fun. And yeah, let's hope. Let's just, you know, I have confidence in my guys that they're going to execute well, and we'll be competitive.
If you had to put a number to it, with two bikes going out for the race tomorrow, how many pit stop practices do you think have been executed getting ready for this race weekend?
If you count how much stuff Dustin and Cole have done back at the shop, I'd say probably 1,000. But yeah, we probably did 30 or 40 last night. You know, just watching, rotating new guys in, rotating different guys in, and seeing who's got it. And then, okay, you have the potential for this. You have the best handle on what's going on. Let's refine your process. So it's rinse and repeat again and again and again. You know, so yeah, it's takes a special guy to be in a pit stop, not just a regular mechanic too, because they have to have a very calm mind and be deliberate with their movements and not get flustered with when the pressure's on. And the pressure's on right now with everybody watching and TV and all that, and they all want to do well. So we'll see how this goes.
All right, you said you get to push the bike in with your son as Tyler's now pushing the bike back out. Where is he? What's his name?
Van Ulrich. There's Van Ulrich. There we go.
All right, Van Ulrich, this is a lot of pressure on you right now. You've got to push this bike in. The team is ready to go. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's see what you guys have got. It looks like pit lane is ready. Tyler Scott is back and ready as well. You excited, Roger?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, they've made a lot of changes, and this is kind of where they've made some mistakes. And it's down to the last team. Let's see if they can knock the Ducati team off.
Whenever you're ready.
Pretty clean so far. They also kind of look like they're going slow just to make sure that they don't make any mistakes, and really had a really good clean pit stop right now.
Looking good. Let's see what the official time is. Now that Tyler has crossed the stripe, waiting to hear. See, the team is enthused. Round of applause for them.
That was a good stop. They would like to have that tomorrow for 4 pit stops for most of their crew guys. And just seems like the guys have had really good stops and just kind of went slow and just made sure they did their job and didn't rush it.
18.92 for the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki team. Nicole Lewis, thumbs up or thumbs down? Did he pass tech? That is a thumbs up from Nicole. We have a winner. Tyler Scott's Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki team able to take home that $7,000 prize. Chris and Van Ulrich, look at that. Congratulations to them.
All that hard work all winter, that's what you do it for, and it pays off today, not only with some money, but we talk about a lot about momentum in the racing, and even winning this will give your team a little bit of momentum.
Going into tomorrow, Tyler Scott, our pole sitter. Now this team gets to go in tomorrow as the winner of the Pit Stop Challenge. Tyler, they're able to take home the cash tonight. Now that you know that they're capable of doing it, how hard do you have to push tomorrow as the rider?
Yeah, we've been pushing hard all weekend. These guys have done an unimaginable amount of practicing throughout the winter. They send me videos, and these guys definitely have put in the hard work, so it's good to see that pay off for them today, and hopefully we keep up the consistency for tomorrow's race, and we should be good.
All right, congratulations on that victory. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Roger, let's take a look at the replay of this pit stop.
See, even how he came in quick, and the guys are just kind of slow. You see, I mean, it looks slow. It's really not, but they're just making sure they do their job and not do a mistake. And sometimes in racing, riders talk about slow down to go faster, and it kind of seems like that's been the key on these pit stops, even with the rule changes, because with the new rules and some changes, if you're speeding, you'll forget. And so to slow down a little bit and just make sure you do everything you need to do.
We mentioned all of the prize money that was available here for this pit stop challenge. Well, that money has to come from somewhere. So I want to say a big thank you to all of the companies and everybody that has come together to sponsor this great event, including Pirelli Tires, Motion Pro, Kabuto Helmets, Coatzymoto, LatinME, Walker Products, Dunlop, Mission Foods, VP Racing Fuels, E3 Spark Plugs, DID Chains, Cardo, Revit, Akasato USA, and Flex Racing. There is the check being written for $7,000. It is now officially going to Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. That will wrap up our coverage here from Friday at Daytona International Speedway. But we will be back with you tomorrow. Here's a look at our coverage schedule. We're going to start everything off with the Mission Super Hooligans morning warm-up. That will be at 8:55 local time, followed by the Daytona Super Sport warm-up at 9 o'clock. Then the Mission King of the Baggers warm-up at 9:45. Mission Super Hooligans race number 2 will be the first racing that we have out on the racetrack. That's at 10:20, followed by SC Project Twins Cup race number 2. Daytona Super Sport The Daytona 200, 57 laps set to kick off here at 1 o'clock, and then we'll wrap up the weekend with the second race for Mission King of the Baggers. Roger, you see the schedule for tomorrow. What are your final thoughts from today?
Well, I'm just looking forward to the Daytona 200. That's what we're all here. That's the iconic race. So looking forward to getting it going tomorrow. We got some close competition at the top, some new rules in the pit stop. So it's going to be an entertaining race.
Yeah, the big thing in the pit stops as well tomorrow is just make sure you're able to have those clean stops. And that's certainly going to give Ty Scott and his crew a lot of confidence going into tomorrow's 200.
A lot of confidence for that team, some work to do for others, but it ultimately comes down to tomorrow. Thank you for sticking with us for this full day of coverage here on MotoAmerica Live Plus. If you bought the weekend package, this is a special treat. It's the only place to catch all of the action for the entire championship season. We will be back with you tomorrow. For myself, Jamie Howe, Roger Hayden, Steve English, the entire broadcast team. Thank you, and we'll see you back tomorrow.